On Chicago's northwest side lies an underutilized freight rail corridor, and it represents an opportunity that planners and urbanists dream about. A pre-existing, grade-separated urban right-of-way, one that's ready for a new life. Over the past half-century, this long-serving rail corridor has been envisioned as an expressway and a rapid transit line. But now, one local group has proposed a new vision, an elevated trail and linear park. It's a project that could transform life on Chicago's northwest side. So let's take a closer look at the history of this corridor and the proposed Crosstown Trail. Chicago has long been a nexus for the nation's rail network. Early railroads helped build the city into a vital transportation hub. This rail infrastructure still shapes the city to this day. Chicago is dotted with large rail yards and crisscrossed by hundreds of miles of track. Much of this infrastructure is invisible, hidden in plain sight, and as the city has deindustrialized, some of these corridors have become underutilized and abandoned, leaving behind an important question. How can Chicago's rail infrastructure be adapted for the city's future? One of these corridors is the Kenton Easement. It's a 3-mile, 2-track freight rail corridor currently owned and operated by Union Pacific. It stretches from Cortlandt Street to Montrose Avenue on an elevated embankment a few blocks east of Cicero Avenue. The line travels through the primarily residential neighborhoods of Portage Park, Old Irving Park, Belmont-Cragen, and Hermosa. But today, the corridor is underutilized. Union Pacific serves just one freight customer on the rail line, a bakery. So there's a legitimate argument that the right-of-way could be better utilized to serve the community. But this is not a new sentiment. In fact, the Kenton Easement has been on the radar of city builders for more than half a century. This is the 1960 vision for the Crosstown Expressway, the proposed final link of the extensive interstate highway network built in Chicago in the mid-century. The 8-lane, 22-mile freeway would cut directly through existing neighborhoods, and it featured an odd bidirectionally split design, with 4 lanes of travel following Cicero Avenue and South 75th Street, and 4 lanes utilizing existing freight rail right-of-way, including the Kenton Easement. This would create a 4-block-wide median, a no-man's land. The expressway would displace tens of thousands and divide communities, and so a movement against the project formed. At first, spearheaded by Catholic parishes that would be divided by the route, and then growing to include a coalition that spanned class and ethnic lines. Years of protests and obstruction followed. The project was officially canceled in 1979. It was a major victory for the burgeoning anti-freeway movement, and the funds were diverted to other transportation projects, including the extension of the CTA Blue Line to O'Hare. But the Kenton Easement remained on politicians' radar. A few decades later, Mayor Richard M. Daley reopened the corridor for study, this time for transit. This 2002 proposal was called the Mid-City Transitway, and it explored the use of the easement for a new elevated rail line, or bus rapid transit. But the proposal failed to gain real traction. Today, the Kenton Easement is once again the center of an ambitious proposal. The latest plan comes from a volunteer organization called Friends of the Crosstown Trail, a group of neighbors who envision the 3-mile corridor as a linear park, connecting Montrose to Cortlandt with a pedestrian and bike trail. The project is partially inspired by the 606, or Bloomingdale Trail, a 2015 project that transformed a similarly underutilized rail right-of-way into a 2.7-mile shared-use trail. The trail has become overwhelmingly popular and is now a fixture on the city's landscape. The Friends of the Crosstown Trail would like to build on the Bloomingdale Trail's vision, providing connectivity, green space, and recreation to Northwest Side neighborhoods. And there are multiple practical advantages to the Crosstown Trail vision. First and foremost is the condition of the existing infrastructure. As a functioning rail corridor, the Kenton Easement is in good, usable condition. The bridges and embankment currently handle freight trains, meaning they are most likely safe for conversion and reuse as a trail. and the fact that the line is built on embankment, that is, mounded earth rather than retaining walls, means that costly engineering and structural interventions can be minimized. Another advantage is geographic. The route runs parallel to the long side of Chicago's rectangular blocks, which limits the number of road crossings, and therefore bridges on the route. These practical advantages provide a critical benefit. They lower the cost of the project. The existing line's grade separation provides a significant safety advantage as well. It allows for a protected route for pedestrians and cyclists above traffic, providing an alternative to the car-dominated Cicero Avenue corridor. Ramps and access points can be added into the existing embankment relatively easily. And lastly, the project would provide a significant amount of green space. The existing Kenton Avenue right-of-way is 100 feet wide, significantly more spacious than the Bloomingdale Trail. When stretched 3 miles long, that adds up to about 40 acres of green space, an area larger than nearby Portage Park. And though design development is preliminary, the sheer amount of land available allows for a wide array of possibilities, including lush native planting and a naturalistic design approach, which could take advantage of the wild character of the existing berm. Zooming out, the Crosstown Trail could become a critical link in a citywide network of trails. On the south, with a connection to the 606 via a 1-mile greenway along Cortlandt Street, and to the north, a connection to the proposed Weber Spur Trail, which would then connect to the popular North Branch Trail. Still, plenty of concerns and hurdles remain before the project could become reality. Dealing with the right-of-way owner, Union Pacific, will be a challenge. Finding funding and political support may also prove difficult. And even if it does move forward, nearby neighbors have valid concerns about gentrification and displacement. While still early in the process, Friends of the Crosstown Trail are considering these complexities. In April 2026, they released a vision document, which outlines the basic project proposal, and in the near future, they hope to facilitate a more in-depth feasibility study, which would take this project one step closer to becoming reality. If successful, the Crosstown Trail has the potential to transform Chicago's northwest side, a corridor that once could have seen an 8-lane freeway, dividing communities, has the chance to become something that could unite them. A Crosstown Trail, creating a healthier, safer, and greener future for Chicago.